KTT Talks by Paula Ricardo ALC. Let's talk about Kizomba.
Welcome everybody, my name is Ricardo.
My name is Paula.
And we are here to the KTT Talks every Wednesday. We come with a subject, a practical subject where we share special techniques specially for you. And this week we put it on our Instagram stories, the option. In fact, it was 3 options. First, it was between body isolation, another one that I don't remember which one it was, and this one that was how to do interpretation to the same step, depending if you are listening to Kizomba, more slow motion Kizomba, more electronic Kizomba, more terrachin or more ghetto zouk flavor, comparing to Semba or including some Kizomba more classic style. And this was the winning subject, and we are ready to start. I just want to make sure that we are fitting the image. If the audio is good on Instagram, please thumbs up. If the audio is good on Facebook, please thumbs up. I imagine that on Facebook is a little bit like shaky, but hope that it gets the better possible, okay? So, first of all, doing here some separation between what we will say. And starting by saying that as we dance popular dances that born on the families, on the street, on the cultural part, it's impossible to say what is correct and what is incorrect, okay? Even talking about the roots, if you go to Angola, so talking about Kizomba and Semba, we need to talk about Angola. If you go to Angola, and we were lucky enough to be there and to see from our eyes. Although Paula born there, she came to Portugal very young, so she don't have memories from that time.
But I have, but are not from the dance. It's different, yeah.
So talking about the roots, the native place, you will be able to see different interpretations to the same music. That is something amazing, okay? Personally, for me, it's a freedom that social dances have in a way that they are not standard. So if you go to ballroom, you have a perfect execution to a certain technique, a certain step, a certain move. In popular dances, that is not so correct. So it's more about the taste and more about what the people connect with what they are seeing. So immediately, talking about Angola once again, we can split here 2 big differences of styles. When we talk about the older generation, os cotas, so cota is a word that means older person, but in a very respectful way. So when the young people want to approach an older person, they say meu cota, so my lord or my older person, but in a very respectful way. So the way that os cotas dance, it's different from the way that new generation dance. Although new generation also sometimes they try to reproduce the same way as kota style. So the kotas, it's more about elegance. It's more about not too much movement. It's maturity of movement. And it's so difficult to reach that maturity because you need years of understanding to your body. It's by the experiences that you have, not properly about the training that you give. Because we are talking about a dance style that was not learned on a studio. They learn on the backyards parties, they learn seeing their parents and grandparents and their aunts and their uncles dancing, and this passed through generation to generation. Only it's quite something recent that the Kizomba and Semba passed to the dance studios. So we are talking that Pechu start this process in Lisbon together with the first generation of instructors back to 2000, 99, 2000, about that. And after that, it starts developing, more people start getting connection, and you know the story more or less. And nowadays we have different directions inside of a big hat that we call Kizomba, and inside of that big hat of Kizomba you have specific styles that are well defined, with the urban keys, with the Kizomba fusion, with the tarraxo, with the douceur. But even inside of these small hats, you have even smaller hats that will be connected to the specific style of a specific dancer. And then you have followers. For example, we consider that we dance Kizomba. We don't consider that we dance fusion or urban keys or whatever. So we identify our style with Kizomba. Although we spice it up with some things that are very personal. And for example, a person that comes from a generation after ours, but he still defines himself and herself as Kizomba instructors, Isabel and Felicien, they went to a different direction of movement approach, but they consider that they dance Kizomba also. And if you look to Isabel and Felicien's style, it's different from our style. If you go to Angolan style, like looking to Paulo and Lana, looking to Rico, looking to Miguel and Susana, so we are talking about dancers that go more in the direction that is more similar. You want to say something?
Yeah, Eusebio André is saying that Kota style is the one that he admired more. And he said that he is learning all the time with us. And he spoke about Pechu, Kota style, Pechu style.
Exactly. So this to tell you that the techniques and the exercises that we will give you as an approach are not the correct way of doing it. It's just an expression, a way of expression, a way of interpretation. And this will depend also, the equation is very complex. So myself, Ricardo Souza from ALC, as a dancer, when I go to a party, the way that I will do an interpretation will depend on several variables. It depends on the place that I am. It depends on the food that I ate. It depends on the weather that it is. It depends on the clothes that I am dressing. It depends on the
music.
The music.
Of the person.
But I'm talking about for the same music, I can have different interpretations. So imagine that the same track will be played in different scenarios. The person that I'm dancing with will influence the way that I will interpret the music. The amount of Cuba Libre that I have on my blood will influence the way that I will do that interpretation. So it's the beauty of Kizomba, of salsa, of bachata, of social dances that can be very free in terms of interpretation, okay? So don't consider the tips that we will give to you as rules. It will be just eye-catching ways to understand better how to do it, okay? And you can have several exceptions. Good? Do you want to add something?
No, it's like that. I agree completely with Ricardo. And just put something that is the social dances usually are not so standard. They are more free. They depend of the people that are dancing, of the way that do the interpretation. It depends the background of the person that is dancing. Then that's why it's more free. It's more difficult to say there's only a one way of dancing. No, it's free. You have your own way. There are some things that you can respect, as is an Afro dance, that is the contact with the floor and the plie, that is what characterizes the dances from Africa. But even the steps, you can do a step, only a step to the side, a basic step to the side. You can do this step with several kinds of flavors. Yes, it depends. Aerobics, we already spoke about this. Imagine if it's tango, you can do like this. If it's samba, you can do more this. If it's kizomba, you can do more staccato, yeah? There are several ways of doing the same step. And we don't consider, we do some fusion, but not fusion that in our days you connect with Albi style, but fusion that we pick up steps from other dances, mostly from tango, and we adapt. We give the flavor, the Afro flavor, the connection with the floor, the way that you move, like you put your head between your shoulders. Yes, you put your shoulders up, and it's more like this. We just put the powder, the jindungu, that give the special and characterize the way or the step, the kind of dance that you are doing.
So one of that sentence for you to write down and put it on the front of your bed to look at every single day. What makes your style of dance are not the steps you do, but the way you do the steps. This is very philosophic, but it characterizes a lot what we represent as dancing interpretation, okay? So what makes your style of dance are not the steps you do, but the way you do the steps. And we can do in a future talk here, approach to how to pick up a tango step, for example, and adapt it to a kizomba step, to be able to change and to mold the jinga. Now, when we talk about Kizomba, again, Kizomba music, we can be talking about a lot of different styles. But let's focus on Ghetto Zouk music, okay? Let's focus on music that is in a range of BPMs between 80 and 95 or 100 BPMs. BPMs are beats per minute, so this is like the pace, the velocity, okay? Something not too fast. And then when we will talk about Semba, let's consider Semba music, but also Kizomba music acoustic production that the sonority is very similar to Semba music. That means that the way of interpretation will be very similar too. And inside of Semba music, we can have kota style, something that is more elegant and more walking without too much movement, or we can have a ginga more like Semba show, that you will have more movement, you will have more footwork also, okay? So inside of each style we can have a lot of variations on the interpretations, okay? The second topic that we were supposed to talk about today was body isolation. So I think next Wednesday we will do a lesson of body isolation in a way that we can give you different moves to the same combination using different parts of the body. And I think this will be a good subject for those that are at home training. Okay?
Yeah, Andre is just putting there an input that is ginga is what you put on the steps in a way that you make. Ginga is what you put the way you do the steps in a way that you can give the flavor, the special flavor of Kizomba or Semba.
Good. So let's think about Kizomba, Ghetto Zouk style, so something that is more inwards, as something that will be more deep inside. Like you step and your motion, the upper body motion will be like, imagine like an earthquake, okay. Or imagine like you have a stone that you throw to a lake and then you see the circles of the impact on the water. That circles are a consequence of the stone touching the water. So imagine that the foot touching the floor will create this continuous, like the circles of the water going up, okay? It's not isolated movement, it's a consequence. So that's why we, in a generic way, we split the movement in two parts. You have the foot connection to the floor and the upper body movement. So the foot will be stick to the floor. If you have the percussion, 1, 2, 3, 4, it will be sharp connection to the floor. 1, 2, 3, 4. But the upper body will not have a stop. But then we need to pick up another concept that we already talked, that is about the visual movement or the intention of the movement. So what will happen is something like this. So the visual movement is something like this, but the intention of the movement is something like this inside, but to the outside you will not see it. Okay? So showing here an example, for example, jajão. Jajão, small lie in Angolan slang, that means that we are moving forward, back and touch. So in a Kizomba Ghetto Zouk style, Tarraxinha style, what we will do is to move the foot, stop between the steps, have these water circles moving, but our axis will stay the place. So the leg go forward, we transfer back and we touch in place. Just 1, 2, 3. You don't see upper body motion, okay? Remember the beginning of the talk. If you are just entering now, welcome, but I advise you to listen the beginning of the talk to make sure that it makes sense what we are saying now, okay? So you have this motion of walking but without moving the place. So if we go forward, place, 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 forward, place, place, place. My upper body don't move the place. And you can start saying, but how the follower can understand that I want her to move back? Although you don't see movement, I will have an intention. So exaggerating, visual movement. I have an intention of movement that will give her a tip to move back. And when we are in contact, like this because of the microphones, imagine that we are hugging each other. Even if I don't move the place, she feels like a small pressure to her that is enough for her to move back. So as Paula is like a Ferrari, she's a Mustang Maserati, a powerful car. She's very pleasant to drive. Ooh. She's able to understand this projection. In the same way, if I want to move back, so I will allow my intention to go back, but my body stays in place, allowing that the stepping move my joints, move my muscles, by consequence arriving till the top, creating like a pulse every time you are stepping and switching the weight from one leg to another. Good? If we do this same step in a Semba or in a Kizomba classic way, one of the things that we can bring, it's a little bit more of visual movement. So for example, my upper body will have more balanço, will have more bounce forward and back, and including my body, visual movement. We'll do like this, okay? But I will just allow the intention of that movement. So when I move, Paula usually use the metaphor of the tongues. So it's like you have tongues on your nipples, and when you step with your left...
No. You have tongues instead of nipples, not tongues on your nipples.
Damn, I was enjoying more that idea of tongues on the nipples, or nipples on the tongues.
No. Instead of nipples, imagine that you have tongues.
Linguas. No. Okay? So the same foot that you step is the same tongue or the same side that move. And like this you will have, exaggerating once again, it's like this movement going forward with the diagonal chest, but keeping more in place. So when you go forward and back, you will have more this intention. That will be a little bit more visual. It's different. Okay? So Ghetto Zouk style, Kizomba Ghetto Zouk style, boom, chika, boom, ka, boom, chika, boom. And it's not about the velocity. Ka, chum. This will be about the instruments and the energy of the music. In the same velocity, if I have an acoustic music, good? So immediately here you have a difference. Good? Thumbs up if you are enjoying, and if you have any questions, just write it down and we'll be very happy to share. On Facebook, Gisele is saying, dançar é uma maneira de nos sentirmos livres, por isso temos mesmo de dançar. Exactly. Dance brings us freedom, so we need, in fact, to dance. So thinking about corridinho, okay? Corridinho in English means like little running. And this is an approach of walking in carnival dances, okay? So you can walk in cavalinho. Cavalinho means little horse. So in the carnival parades, you see the dancers walking in a cavalinho, like walking in place. But you can have corridinho, like dragging the foot one side to another. So in the Kizomba world, when we talk about corridinho, we think about this circle move, okay? Outside, with the outside spot. So imagine that you have a chair on your left side, leaders.
For us is on the right.
And you can do that exercise. And having the chair over there, what you need to do is to walk around that chair. Really close to the chair, but walking around, okay? If you imagine that you are inside of a square, this will allow you to be more geometric, mainly at the beginning. After you can change the amplitudes, but your left foot will be directed to the corner, forwards with the right foot to the wall, the left to the corner, right to the wall, corner, wall, corner, and wall. Okay, so if I do this move in a Ghetto Zouk style, my motion will be almost in the spot. You see that my body is vertical, I'm just turning my axis, but I keep almost in the spot. If I do this in a Kizomba classic style or in a Semba, what I will do, first of all, I will lean a little bit more. So if you see here, instead of staying so straight, I will create a small bend to the side that I'm walking. Like you have a stick on your left hand that is smaller. So you need to walk this side. And I can have different approach on this walking because I can drag more the left leg, and this dragging will give more like a kota style because it's smoother. Or I can have more walking, but a little bit more bouncing, okay? Like in cavalinho way of doing corridinho. Make sense? I hope that this is not too confused. Another example, it's about the famous Lady Saida. Good?
Yeah, enjoying the lesson. Thank you, Debra.
Perfect. Don't forget to share with a friend that will enjoy this. After we will upload also on Facebook, on Instagram. If you are not able to watch it all, just be able to watch it after. On Instagram, please go there to the comments, tell us what you thought about, tag your friends, because it's a way of reaching more people. Remember, we are delivering for you in order that you deliver to others, and we create here a good chain reaction of sharing.
Without being selfish.
Exactly. So if we do a lady saída, using the same principle, so let's do in this angle. If I start once again, I will allow the jejão movement, remember that I stay more in place, and I will create a change of direction and everything very inward and very stop with the foot and creating a motion continuous, okay? If I do it in Semba, first, if it is kota style, it can be more traveled, okay? Because Semba will have more this energy outside. If it is more like Semba show, I can apply some footwork. So immediately my foot can go here and I can prepare my foot being more crazy footwork, okay? Always without forgetting the connection with the partner, always without forgetting the frame, and remembering that everything we do with our feet cannot damage our connection.
Even for us as a followers, we can have footwork and we can have a body movement, not only move your bunda. You have another kind of steps that you can do, footwork that you can do in a way without disturbing the understanding of the leading, of course, and your connection with your partner, but it's possible also to do. As we can do, the ladies say that the Kizomba way is more grabbing the floor with your toes, and it's more, you stop more between the steps, and like you are bending and stretching one of the knees each time, it's going to be possible to move your bunda in a natural way. But also, as Ricardo was saying, in the Semba show, you can do the footwork that is open, raka, chuka, cha, cha, together. In this way, you can do the normal way, yes, that is the Semba way that you can do it, but also doing this kind of footwork that is nice and without disturbing the understanding of the leading. Yes?
Good.
Nice.
Anybody else felt a block on the transmission? Maybe because Andrei is saying that there was like a small block in the moment of explaining the nipples. Maybe Portugal have like a
sensor.
É censura, Andrei. But if anybody, maybe can be also the internet connection of ours or Andrei's connection. If anybody else felt the same, let me know, we explain again, or after Andrei you can look back. Evgeny, you are asking here, are there any difference in rule of three movement? Rule of three movement. I don't know what you are talking about.
Yeah, maybe you are speaking about the basic step on three. If there is some rule, I don't know, but we need to
Can
understand.
you try to explain better, Evgeny?
Yeah.
I'm not understanding because he put it between. We didn't talk nothing about that.
No.
Rule of three movement. So please say something there.
Yeah.
So, something that can happen. Can you turn off a little bit, or I turn off mine?
But no.
Something that can happen, for example, the posture also can change. In a more kuchi kizomba way, you can be like in a frame like this, and including here, you can do saída. You can do walking also, and you are more in the spot. In Semba, you will have a posture that can be closed, but also can be split. Kizomba the same, so here it's exactly the same. But the energy will be different. So while I'm walking in a corridinho, in a Semba will give a different flow. The way that we will attack the body will be different also. So it becomes a little bit more visual when you are changing one step and the other. Oh. And after there are a lot of variations that we don't have the time to talk about that, but for example, doing the jejão, we can apply some footwork out in a way that don't change the posture of our chest. Okay, so there are several variations that we can do it. Here, a little bit of publicity and advice. We have our ALC Kizomba Semba Academy. You have more than 130 lessons there available. And every week we teach live lessons that after are added there. So this week, Thursday, Paula will teach a Kizomba lady styling where she approached a lot of these things. I teach on Friday a Kizomba man styling, and this Saturday we will have a couple Semba lesson. Good thing, you can test during 7 days completely for free, okay? On our bio, you have the link. If you are on Facebook, you have the link on the description, elearn.alcdance.pt. And you do the subscription, 7 days free access to all the content, including the live lessons. If you like, welcome, enjoy, keep learning. If you don't like, no problem at all. We will keep delivering this kind of free content also. Do you know already the question?
No.
Evgeny, say something.
Lhe dá de lado, o cabeludo, beijinhos. But Evgeny didn't say nothing. Boa.
I made a mistake. And now I don't have access to the comments. Okay. Evgeny, please say something. I can check here. Say something, Paula.
Evgeny, say something to me. Okay. Then, just, okay, there's something there. There's something there. Or not?
No.
Okie dokie.
So, if you have any more questions, feel free to ask, or you can send us a private message. Evgeny, please send me a message after with your questions. Saturday we have the Leather of Dance Q&A, and we can still answer questions there. Resume. It doesn't matter what you do, but the way you do it. The style, your style of dance is not defined by the steps you do, but the way you do the steps. So it's more or less the same sentence said in a different way. Inside of each style, so if you think about jars, like almost like that Russian dolls, you have a lot of different dolls inside, matryoshka. So you have like classical way of dancing, modern way of dancing, and this is connected to the music. But even in modern music, you can have a classic approach, and even in classic music, you can have a modern approach. Everything is free as we are talking about popular dances. And it's all about our expression. It's all about the moment that we are. Now, we need to pay attention by the condition that we are representing. One thing is Ricardo and Paula going to a party to have fun. We are free to do whatever we want, okay? Another thing is Ricardo and Paula on a stage. We are free even more to do whatever we want because we want to
wake up people
and to express an interpretation of the music that we want to share something, okay? It's a show, it's entertainment. Other thing is Paula and Ricardo inside of a studio to teach a lesson. Inside of a studio, if you are an instructor, you have responsibilities. And there, you need to say why you are doing what you are doing, how the things appear, and for that we need to study. Okay, there is no other way. And even studying a lot, we need to have the open mind that we don't own the truth. Mainly when you talk about popular dances. I don't know if you listen already our story saying that till 2015, when we share what Kizomba music is, we were saying just part of the story. Because our speech was Kizomba music, it's a fusion between Semba and Zouk from the French Caribbean in Angola. This was the main fusion. But in 2015, we met Eduardo Paim. And we were saying that, as Pechu was saying that, all the main instructors were saying that because this was the information that we had access. And it's not wrong.
It was known.
This was a big truth in the mid-80s. But in Angola, before that mid-80s, around 78, 79, was the moment that for the first time the word Kizomba, that means party, hanging out, celebration between friends and family, Kizomba, an Angolan word from Kimbundu, a language from Kimbundu.
A dialect.
It was, some people say that is a dialect, some people say that is a language, so I stay there in the middle. Sometimes I say language, other times I say dialect to be able to please everybody. So, the word started being associated to a new style of music. And the creator of this style of music, as far as we know, was Eduardo Paim with his band SOS. And they gave this name to a new kind of production of music because they want to produce music to have fun. Angola was in a civil war situation, a lot of production, of music production to, how do you say, revolution context, and they were consuming to have fun, mainly international music. So this young generation of musicians decide to create a style of music from Angola to have fun, to have Kizomba. So this was around 78, 79 when Zouk didn't born yet. And we just knew about this when we met in person Eduardo Paim, 2015, and we brought him to an event and we asked him kindly to give a lecture, and he told his story on first person. And all of us, the instructors that we were there, Albir was there, Pechu, Paulo and Lana, Miguel, and a lot of known teachers, we were like, oh my God. So the truth was, we were not telling a lie, we were just telling part of the story. Okay, so nowadays we switch the way that we talk about Kizomba as appearance. So in Angola, Kizomba appears by the fusion of Semba and a lot of different rhythms coming from different parts of the world, including the pop music from Michael Jackson was an influence to Eduardo Paim and his band. But in the mid-80s, with the appearance of Zouk from Kassav, this was a big explosion, and a lot of countries start producing their own versions of Zouk, and they gave different names because they had different
connections, different bases, different influences.
Different influences. In Cape Verde, they call it Kola Zouk, but in Guinea-Bissau and in Cameroon and in Nigeria, they call it Afro Zouk. In Angola, they call it Kizomba because already have a sonority that was in somehow similar, that also drank from certain of the same influences, like Caribbean music, the compa from the IT, so everything is connected. Good thing, we have lessons full of contact with this. So if you want to study with us to become an instructor, taking access to structure of teaching, what to do in lesson number 1, number 2, number 3, till lesson number 16, plus the complete story under our perspective, plus musicality lessons, everything in the same format online, so you have access at your home and do it in your own pace and repeat the lessons a number of times that you want. Send us a message, because soon we will open a new group of students for KTT, Kizomba Teachers Training, and we'll be very pleased to have you with us. Okay, I think that's it for today.
Yeah.
Is there any more questions?
No.
More questions?
I don't think so.
Saludos desde México. Perdón por no hablar
Ay,
en
no.
inglés, en español.
Estaba aquí.
All good?
It's hard to explain. It's better to send a video, Evgeny said.
Okay, send me the video, and Saturday to the Ladder of Dance, to the Q&A, we give you an answer for that. Okay, I'll wait for your video. Muito obrigado. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Big kiss. Stay safe. Depending on the geographic area that you are, stay at home. Don't mess it up with everybody, but keep dancing and keep supporting your local studios, international instructors, the ones that you love. Make sure that you allow them and support them to be able to keep working, in order that when all of this pass, we are able to still alive in our profession, in order that we can create more magic moments for you, to meet new people, to travel, to dance with a lot of people, to learn more things. We are here for you. Good?
Good. Thank
Beijinho,
you very
beijinho.
much.
Mua. Ciao, ciao, bambinos.